To think something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love
are on the line.
When every second counts in the emergency room, providing immediate access to your medical records.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
There is no credible cause for concern about implanting these tiny microchips under your skin.
There's been over 10 million pets in 15 years that have had this microchip without any problems.
The morph of where we're going to put that chip.
Stockbroker Robel Johnson is one of the pioneers. Today he's having a chip implanted in his arm.
Okay. Now you're going to feel a little pressure. Okay.
If ever he becomes an emergency patient, he can be instantly identified.
Yeah. How did that feel?
Fine, that's fine.
Okay, great.
Doctors think it will soon be as commonplace as vaccinations.
You're chipped. You should play that number today.
The scanner powers up, wave it over the arm, pulls up the unique 16-digit identification number, and through a serial port that's at the bottom of the scanner, it goes to a computer or a laptop, where immediately my picture, my driver's license information, and my relevant medical records would pop up on the screen.
Instead of GPS bracelets, convicts would be forced to have a device implanted.
Instead of ankle bracelets, sex offenders might have something like this, implanted.
Parents are putting these chips in kids in Mexico, where there's a higher risk of kidnappings. The scanners are put up at airports and bus stations, so if a chipped child is there, police know.
I think it's good because it's really fast, the queues go quicker so that you don't have to spend all break queuing up for the food.
Your parents can pay online and you don't have to worry about losing your money or getting it stolen or anything.
The latest technology for identifying people at the point of sale, for identifying people when they make purchases, is actually the implantable chip that you can actually embed directly into human flesh. It's a tiny glass capsule about the size of a grain of rice. It contains an RFID computer chip.
I think that within 20 years when you get born you will get a chip.
Super sinister situation when you look away the first world funds come from. It's a super sinister situation when you're buying your food by. And it's a super sinister situation when you look away the first world funds come from. It's a super sinister situation when you're buying your food by. Money, 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 all I ever hear these days. Every song that the DJ plays, talking of a similar situation. Ain't got none and got to get some. Gotta have more than I had before. Gotta have more than the man next door. Every day I gotta make some more, some more, some more. Well, give me a break, yeah. Let me take some time out. Gotta frisk my mind down before I lose my life now. Give me a break, yeah. Let me take some time out.
You know, there is an increasing amount of support for a microchip for buying and selling. Some people are kind of saying that people are going to be forced to take it, but I think eventually people will be queuing up themselves and taking it.
I would not have a problem at all if they wanted to put a microchip in me to help out with any kind of medical security, anything. I'd be fine with it.
I saw my thing about the money and banking. I hope in the future I can take one in my right hand.
I think it's very cool actually. It's a cool concept.
If I was to have a microchip which would benefit me on a personal level,
I wouldn't have any problems with the ramifications. Like, for instance, if I had a microchip which would allow me discounts, say, on like toll roads or purely financial reasons, which was exclusive for that, then I'd have no problem.
I got chipped.
My whole office is getting the chip.
I already got the chip.
I've got the chip.
We got the chip.
Now, the points that are most being used to sell the implantable microchip to people are causing a lot of fear and paranoia amongst conspiracy theorists. You know, fears like giving the government too much control.
They're trying to bring in the RF chips as a form of control to all of us human beings. If you don't do as you're told, if you don't conform to the authority, you don't conform to controls, you will have your chip turned off and you will not have anything. And if they turn that off, you can't go into shops, you won't be able to get into the doors, all electronically.
The idea of having one as a thin edge of a wedge as a way of social control and monitoring, I think that's very, very dangerous.
When I read the book with Barry Smith, it brought up for me the significance of the Antichrist and controlling of people. That's what it brought up. Second, yeah, the Antichrist. You know, you see these fictional movies and you see their implants and it controls you.
First, we take a gloomy, dissatisfied woman. We locate her brain. We insert a few nano chips. Finally, we enhance her to fit the ideal specifications. Welcome to the future.
It's a really scary prospect. I'm sorry. Really scary.
Well, I think they're worried about the wrong thing. They're panicking, like, about the wrong stuff. We've come to accept that kind of technology in the past, things like Social Security and credit cards. Those, that was always a concern there, but now people have just come to accept it. I think they'll do the same thing with microchip implants.
Personally, I feel that these fear merchants, they do their own cause a disservice. I mean, it's not some tyrant from outside that's going to control us. It's our own inner tyrant, our own greed, that's going to lead us to line up for something like a microchip.
When talk turns to the microchip implant being used for buying and selling, control or no control, I think most people would change their story.
I feel very strongly that I would say no, but when it comes to you can't travel, or maybe you can't get a job, or you can't get social services, I think that was pretty disturbing, because that's the point at which most people are going to, even if they wanted to say no, might feel forced to say yes.
Are there any conditions under which I would allow myself to be microchipped? I don't think so. So basically what you're saying is either you're in this monetary system with the microchip monetized system, or you're outside of that system, and you're asking me is what would I choose?
If you take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Well, you know, that's a difficult question, because we all like creature comforts, you know, we all like to have a house. My biggest theory is that it's not ever going to be implemented.
I think it's very scary what you're talking about with that company, that it put it in your hand and, you know, might get to that point where you need to have that or you can't buy anything, and I think it's very, very scary. I would hope that this company, that it wouldn't get pushed to the point you were talking about, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
If it was an essential to life, which again I hope it would never be, I would put it in my body, but I would hope it never would come to that point.
Would you take the VeriChip? No way, no, no. Well, if I had to have one to participate within the community, well, for the well-being of my family, I might be forced to, yes. But I'm hoping it doesn't get to that.
Okay, with the VeriChip, I would not take it on. I think if it got to the point where if you didn't have a VeriChip in you, then you couldn't work, you couldn't earn money, you couldn't pay rent, I guess then there's not much choice but to conform and to go with it. But I don't see that would happen anytime soon, I don't think anyway.
I've noticed when it starts costing people personally, you know, i.e. that they won't be able to buy or sell, the penny drops. They go into denial, and they don't even want to face the fact that they've surrendered already. I mean, it's like they've just caved in, but they don't even want to face it. And that's really disturbing.
Yeah, the issue that concerns me the most on that is just money in general. You know, whether it's a microchip implant for buying or selling, or just plain cash, people are too dependent on it, and the vast majority of society have more faith in money than they do in God.
Yeah, there used to be a lot of talk about the mark of the beast in the churches, but it doesn't seem to be any more of that.
I'm a Church of England. My particular church have not discussed about the mark of the beast. The Church of England, I think they're more very politically correct, and they don't want to tread on people's toes.
I'm Assistant Minister of Grace Church, Dulwich. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with buying or selling or using money in this way. I personally don't have a problem with this idea of having a microchip put in your arm as a sort of, I don't know, credit card that you can buy and sell in clubs or go down to Sainsbury's and buy your food. No, I would not have a problem with that as a Christian. I think you can worship Jesus Christ whilst at the same time having a mark in your arm, yes.
I'm aware that some Christians would consider that a cashless society is a kind of answer to a prophetic text we find in the book of Revelation, that no one can buy or sell who does not have the mark. So it could be, well, if you don't have the right credit card or something else, a chip somewhere, you are lost. I can understand this kind of interpretation. According to our interpretation as Adventists, Seventh-day Adventists, we consider that this idea of worship is a dominant theme here in chapter 13. And when we say worship, we add a small word to explain, day of worship. This idea of selling or buying is not the main topic of chapter 13.